Really like Philly. Their offensive line is tremendous. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Don't forget Saquon Barkley. I mean, how can you forget him? He rushes for over 100 yards a game, catches like 7 or 8 balls a game, jumps over people backwards. I mean, this dude's ridiculous. My holdup is Jalen Hurts. You watch the game and you go back and you see the highlights. It's like he doesn't do anything crazy or special, and he's 18 of 30 for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. And it's like, how did this happen? And he rushes for 2 touchdowns a game with the tush push. They obviously have this figured out on offense. They have a formula. I think Kellen Moore is doing an awesome job getting all these guys to football and putting together schemes up front that, Saquon week to week is just running through open holes. Like, it's just awesome. Like, I don't see like these big time throws or great reads or awesome third down conversions. Just like Jalen just kind of figures it out and relies on everyone around him. They've won 6 in a row. Like, I think they probably win again against the Rams. I mean, the Rams are solid. They could totally come in there and win. But at the same time, Philly is sound up front. Their defense is playing a lot better. And as long as Jalen Hurts doesn't mess it up too bad, they find ways to win.
Let me talk my shit again.
What it do? This is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. Before we get into the content, please like, share, subscribe, as well as comment. It goes a long way. Before this Week 12 matchup, we have an injury report like we do every week. And unfortunately, we're not going to have Smitty for this game. We should have anticipated this, looking into how he did not show for practice all week. Had a hamstring injury for like the past 2 weeks and really got rushed into playing that short week matchup against the Commanders, which probably shouldn't have used him for that game because he had little to no impact on that game. So rest up Smitty. Hopefully that hamstring is ready by the Ravens game, if not after that Ravens game. But I don't know about y'all, man. I'm fed up. I'm tired. I'm really fed up and tired with these career bums, the career backups, having anything to say about our quarterback and Jalen Hurts. I mean, these are guys that wish, it's clear at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this Jalen Hurts mixtape. So that y'all could see how special he actually is. But a guy like Colt McCoy, a guy like Chase Daniels, Dan Orlovsky, these guys are haters purely because they're envious. They wish not only they had the intangibles, the talent that Jalen Hurts had, they wish they had the talent around him. And I think that's for several reasons. I think, obviously, A.J. Brown is a stellar, great receiver, as well as Devontae Smith. But Devontae Smith came in his rookie year playing with Jalen Hurts. And that year was not necessarily great by Jalen Hurts standards as well. And those numbers that Jalen Hurts had, which is what he had over 3,000 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, a passer rating of 87.2, 54.6 QBR, and 61.3 completion percentage. And aside from the completion percentage, all those numbers are better than Colt McCoy's best year. Best year to best year comparison, Jalen Hurts blows him out the water. Now, I know why that is. Again, he's more talented, but also the front offices and the franchises, maybe it's an indictment on them. Probably really it's an indictment on people like Chase Daniels and Colt McCoy. They didn't believe in y'all. They didn't believe in y'all to the point that they refused to put talent around you to see not only how good you could be, but also for you to succeed. They really didn't give that much about you. They didn't care that much. Y'all were just another, bridge quarterback. Someone to help them find the guy that they really want. You've never been paid like Jalen Hurts. You never had the success like him because this is a former All-Pro. You never been into a Super Bowl. And when it comes to the Super Bowl, even though I do not really care for, the ratings or the grades when it comes to games, that's the highest rated Super Bowl performance by any quarterback in NFL history by Jalen Hurts. You're talking about a 92 point something grade for Jalen Hurts in that game. I mean, he outplayed Mahomes, but he did have that fumble and we lost. And really, that's all that matters. Wins and losses. These guys are so, hung up on stats, on, pretty plays. You talking about a guy that you said you can't make reads on third down? We're one of the best third down teams in the league. And those third downs are not always picked up on the run. They're picked up by the pass. You talking about Saquon Barkley catches 6 to 7 passes a game. That's a guy who has 23 catches on the year after 10 games. But you expect me to believe guys like Colt McCoy, who are career bums and scrubs, are watching these games and actually analyzing what Jalen Hurts is doing. They've never done half of this shit in this mixtape. They haven't. That is why they were backups. That is why they were not surrounded with talent. They couldn't do it. But they're trying to say them as being guys that were never special, that he doesn't do anything special. The audacity of these dudes is astonishing. It just really is, to the point it's beyond disrespectful. It makes me think, are my ears working correctly? Am I hearing what I'm hearing? Because how do you, as a scrub, say you can't see anything special in another player? I'm sorry, you're not the one to say it. Now, that may sound crazy coming from a guy that never played in the NFL, but you don't have to play in the NFL to know that Colt McCoy is a scrub and Jalen Hurts is not. And Jalen Hurts absolutely has special traits to his game. Deep ball is one of the prettiest, running ability, obviously, and having one of the best trump cards in the league when it comes to the brotherly shove. Once you get to like the 2-yard line or even 1 yard for a first down, why are you hating on him? They said he couldn't do it when AJ Brown got here. They said he couldn't do it without Jason Kelce. And here we are at 8-2. And Jalen's playing one of the best football of his career. I mean, this is a guy that has, let's look at Jalen Hurts' numbers real quick. Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback with more passing yards, which is 368 yards, and 5 touchdowns on deep passes in the entire NFL. He's the only one with those numbers, the best numbers, I should say. And he's the only quarterback in NFL history to have a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, and a passer rating over 100 for 4 consecutive games. And surprise, his passer rating is over 100 over the course of this season. And that's what he's saying. He has not seen in Jalen Hurts over the course of the season. I mean, this guy, not only is he a bad quarterback, but he clearly is bad at watching tape and analyzing football. He might be worse at that. And that's probably a surprise to a lot of people. Probably not to me at this point, because what the hell were you even saying in that clip? Moving on to a guy another stud on this team, AJ Brown has been sorely missed when it comes to him being hurt throughout this season. But also, I'm still waiting on a domination game by AJ Brown. He's had the padded one-on-one coverage. I'm a smoke you touchdown catch. And he was averaging over 100 yards per game. But over the course of the 7 games that he has played, he has 88 yards per game, 18.7 yards per catch. And I think tomorrow we're going to see that monster game by AJ Brown. It's been long overdue. And we know that trap well at SoFi in LA going against the Rams. Be prepared to see AJ Brown take this game over with the help of guys like Dallas Goedert. Jahan Dotson absolutely needs to step up because Smitty's obviously not going to be there. But I feel like AJ Brown's definitely going to have a lot to say in that game. And I think it's going to begin and end more than likely with a guy like Saquon Barkley. I mean, this is a guy who clearly is a game changer. He can shift the momentum at a moment's notice. But again, for all intents and purposes, for everybody to know clear and cut, not only is he the best running back in the NFL, being only 50 yards rushing behind a guy like Derrick Henry, who's played a whole more game than him. He's a full game back with 50 yards behind him, but also at 5.8 yards per carry. And in the last 5 games, he's had over 140 yards 3 times and only been over 100 yards once. This is the best closer in all of football. And we're going to prove that again in SoFi because these guys are just not ready. Not only is the offense going to be too much for them to handle, yes, the rookie class in terms of defensive players are playing pretty well. Jared Verse, Frisk, and all those guys. They have to see Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens, and Saquon Barkley. You have yet to see anything remotely close to that all season. Be prepared for them to look like rookies. Like I said, Jaden Daniels will look like a rookie last week. And obviously, we're going against Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. That's a pretty tough trio to go up against, whether or not they're playing at home. But again, Jalen Carter is by far one of the best D tackles in all of football, and he's well acquainted with 2 sacks on Matthew Stafford just last year. But this is a guy that's 8th in pressures with 33, 10th in hurries with 22, tied for 8th with 7 QB hits, 3.5 sacks, and 7 tackle for losses. That's a D tackle, not a DN, ladies and gentlemen. Like, Jalen Carter is an absolute dog. I mean, putting guys like Zach Martin, a future Hall of Famer, in a blender and moving a rookie in Cooper Beebe just moving the hell out the way as if he's a child. That's what Jalen Carter's been doing throughout the course of this season. But really, he's been consistently doing that since the defense has just gone up another notch, several notches actually, because compared to where we started this season, and even further comparing it to last year, you're talking about night and day when it comes to the defense. Not only is this the best defense of all of football, the strength of the defense is on the back end. And some of the two of the best DBs on the entire team are rookies. Everybody knows that Quinyon Mitchell, by now, should be a household name. He's virtually a household name. And he's second right now in the defensive rookie rankings and odds. I firmly believe not only he has a great chance to get an interception on Matthew Stafford, who loves to take chances, they love to pass the ball. The guy he's going to have, I don't think, a tough matchup, given the fact you're not going to always see Cooper Kupp on the outside or Puka Nacua. They're going to move those guys around a lot. So you might get a healthy dose of, Robinson? And ultimately, it doesn't matter who he sees. Because Quinyon Mitchell, when it comes to him playing defense, this is a guy that's allowed 27.4 yards per game, 2.3 catches per game, a 70 passer rating, 2.2 yards after the catch, and 0 touchdowns for the entirety of the season. That's what Quinyon Mitchell has been doing. Elite level, all pro level type of play. Obviously, Vic Fangio is the orchestrator and putting all these guys in position. But these guys are showing up and proving it on the field week in and week out. But as I just mentioned, we got two studs as rookies on this defense. And once Cooper DeJean got inserted into this lineup after the bye, you're talking about the best defense of all of football. Ranked number 1 in yards allowed, number 1 in defensive grade, 3rd in opponent success rate, 3rd in points allowed per game. This guy has a lot to do with that. I mean, back-to-back 4th and 1 stops on passes to a guy like Evan Ingram, and even a motion pass to Jamar Chase open field by himself. These guys are just on a different tier, and obviously that's a lot to do with Vic Fangio, but the talent is showing up. The talent is pairing well with the coaching, and a number 1 defense is what you get with that. I love the physicality of this defense. I love the D-line is coming alive. I really love the play of the linebackers, especially given the fact we were not expecting them to play nearly as well as they're playing. Nakobe Dean being one of them, but Zach Bond even more. This is a guy that was a special teams ace, used as a rusher at times for the New Orleans Saints. He's one of the top 3 linebackers in all of football right now. Another guy playing at an all-pro level. Again, I love the physicality. I love the fact that we're creating turnovers, but I love the communication. The communication allows for all of that to take place. And here in 2 back-to-back weeks, going against the Jags and then going against the Commanders, I mean, these guys, not back-to-back weeks, but going against the Jags and the Commanders, understanding when to hand off receivers and tight ends in order to have proper coverage. And if you know anything about defenses, you need your linebackers to be able to cover if you want them to be out on the field, unless you're going to use them purely as a rusher. And we just don't do that. We use our D-line to rush. The linebackers have to be able to cover. Zach Bond has been showing that ability throughout the entirety of the season. And it's just dope because we haven't had that in a very long time. And clearly, it's been a long time coming. But I think it's clear, despite we're going up against a pretty good receiving core with a good quarterback, which is probably going to be the best test for our defense and our DBs. In the end, it doesn't really matter, because when you have goons like EA Sports who constantly put out product every year and refuse to improve on it because they know the fiends are going to come back and they're going to buy the product regardless. And midway through the season, instead of improving the functionality and the gameplay for Madden, a game that I played for a long time, they said, nah, we're not gonna patch things that are fucking up in terms of coverages and blocking schemes. We're gonna go ahead and put that backwards hurdle by Saquon Barkley in the game and make it a feature. Now, not only does that prove that EA Sports ain't shit because they can make changes at a moment's notice, Saquon Barkley's just that special. He forcing an immovable object to move and get off their ass and make something happen when no one asked for it. But yet and still, they delivered. I guess thank you, EA Sports, but really thank you for proving the point that we got one of them ones, and he's the best in the league, Saquon Barkley. With that being said, I firmly believe a comfortable victory in SoFi Stadium, 31-20, Philadelphia Eagles. With that being said, this is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. We out to the next one. Peace.